So, good afternoon, everyone. It is another beautiful day here, and we are excited that you are with us to have this discussion. My name is Kymara Seals. I am the policy director here at the Arkansas Public Policy Panel, and my colleague, Kwami Abdul-Bey, who is the elections coordinator. And boy, do we have an interesting conversation for us today. Kwame, how you feeling, brother?
I am feeling well. I'm a little tired because I just got in this morning from Forest City,
Yep.
and I don't really like driving on I-40 because all of
Yeah.
those 18
Trucks.
wheelers, and it's just packed.
Yeah, it takes your energy, that's for sure. That's for sure. You're a trooper about it. You got up
Yeah.
and came on to the office. So
Yep.
so anyway, welcome. We'd like to welcome our viewers on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube. We're excited about this topic today. It's something we definitely need to talk about. And it's something that America needs to start paying attention to. Just all of us need to start
Yes.
paying attention
Yes.
to. And it's so critical because what's happening is not good for democracy. And if this thing passes, it's going to take us uh, back to the 60s, maybe even the 50s. So, but anyway, let's jump in. Let's jump in again. We appreciate you all joining us, and I know we know the majority of the people will probably be watching the recast or watching at a later time. So we certainly appreciate you all tuning in. Uh, Questions, comments, please put them in the chat. We're going to do our best. Kwame and I are going to do our very best to get an answer, find an answer, or whatever. And if we don't get it within this 1 hour, we can go back and answer in the comments.
That's a very nice way of saying that we don't know everything.
There you go. Thank you. We don't know everything. This bill is complicated. We're talking about the SAVE Act. And now let me tell you, this is the new SAVE Act. And let me tell you
The new
what
one
that
is the
stands.
Save America Act.
Save America Act. That's right. Now, let me tell you what the acronym means, because you all know the media and everybody, federal government is big acronyms. There's an acronym for literally everything. So let me give you the acronym, what it stands for. And so what we're talking about today is the Save America Act bill is what we're going to be talking about.
Mhm.
And save, it's SAVE, and they do capitalize it because it stands for Safeguard American Voter Eligibility, then Act.
Mhm.
Safeguard American Voter Eligibility Act. So that's what the acronym SAVE, SAVE, stands for. Now let's jump in. Uh, Kwame and I are both in information overload here. He and I intentionally have not talked about this per se in preparation because he has his study, I did my study. We have different sources, and so but we both watched a couple of the same congressmen who we'll talk about share their insight. And so the purpose of today is to be educational for you, informational, educational, and of course, we always leave with an action item. We're going to ask you to do something when we finish here. So
Mhm.
let's go ahead and jump in. Kwame, you want to jump off first and just lead us into the conversation?
Well, the first thing I want to say is, you talked about the Save Act, and then
Mm-hmm.
you talked about the Save America Act. Just want to let everyone know that these are basically the same
Right,
bills. They were just introduced at two different times. One was
right,
introduced in 2026, that's the Save America Act, and then the other one was introduced in 2024. Now, the difference between the two acts is that the bill that was introduced in 2024, and maybe you can talk about this since you have congressional experience, but it was a messaging bill.
yeah, yeah,
And even in the research in this, I didn't know what a messaging bill was
Yeah,
until
yeah,
the research, but it was a messaging bill where it wasn't intended to become
right,
law, but it was used specifically to get an to get President Trump elected.
right, right.
That was
And
the
it
whole
right,
goal.
exactly. And that was part of the strategy
Hmm.
is the messaging bill, because what you do with that, it creates the conversation. Like,
Yes.
let's start talking about this, because it was a lot when it first came out. We were like, what on earth? You gotta be kidding. And I
Hmm.
don't know how long we were having discussions about it for months, but
Hmm.
it just kind of went away.
Yeah, because they,
Yeah,
from what I read, they never intended to vote on it or
yeah, yeah.
do hearings on it or anything. They just
Right,
wanted to
right.
put it out there.
Right. And so yeah, and that was and it was part of the strategy to help get this guy elected. And let me say this, I will be let me just make sure, because sometimes I can be sarcastic, believe it or not.
A lot
I,
of times you can be
I can be
sarcastic.
sarcastic, but I want the viewers to understand I respect the office of the presidency. I
Mhm.
do. I mean, we have respect for the office of presidency, for the office of the president. Although I don't agree with our current president, his policies, his actions, his character, I don't care for any of that. But we
And
are
can I add to that? Before
sure.
you say the but, is both of us are U.S. veterans.
Yes, we are. Absolutely. Thank you, Kwame. We're both U.S. veterans. You know, we both have taken the oath. And I have
Several
much respect for
times.
this country. And
Mhm.
and I often in just some of my personal posts, I put the flag, and people say, well, why do you put the flag here? I said, it's my country.
Mhm.
This is our country, and I love this country. And that's why we do this work. We're constantly fighting to protect democracy, which we're getting ready to talk about
Yes,
now. So
yes.
thank you for that. But yeah, so that was the messaging. That was what it was for, and they got the message out. Now I want to talk about, because what the conversation did, it started talking about the message created, it mobilized the base of conservative voters. It
Mhm.
energized, it mobilized the base. And I will say, just for the viewers, the Arkansas Public Policy Panel is not a partisan organization. We're not partisan,
Mhm.
but as the NAACP say, we're political as hell, right?
Mhm.
But there you go, nonpartisan but political as hell, exactly. um and so, but with being a policy person, and both of us are in policy, we want to talk about how bad this policy really is and what it really does. And
Mhm.
it was a message in 2024 to say, hey, we don't want illegal voting. Nobody wants illegal voting.
Mhm.
uh, but guess what? They didn't want immigrants voting. They didn't want people who weren't citizens voting. But guess what? That's already the law.
That's
That's
already the law.
already the law in this country. But when
Yeah.
you
It
create
was it was it was officially
that
made the
create,
law in
yeah,
1996.
right, that creates chaos and uncertainty, that was the goal. And people were like, yeah, we don't want illegals voting, or people who are undocumented, or but it's already the law. So there was this stir about this voter fraud that has not proven to be the case, right? So let's jump into this bill, because here's what I want to say as we start this conversation. Voting is sacred.
It is.
It is sacred. We know the history of our people. We know the history of our ancestors. We know what they went through. Not everybody's our ancestor, our ancestors and our elders,
Mhm.
because many of those are still living today.
Mhm.
We know the struggle that our people went through to get us the right to vote. We know that. And the right to vote is sacred. And when you start tampering with that, we're going to fight. We're going to fight. And so, what this bill does, this literally is a voter suppression bill. And it's a voter suppression bill because it disenfranchises so many categories of people. You're talking about students are going to be disenfranchised, poor people are going to be disenfranchised, the elderly, even military are going to be disenfranchised. People of color are going to be disproportionately impacted. The elderly, women. So we're going to talk. So I want us to talk about why do we say this is a voter suppression bill and that all of these groups of people are going to be disenfranchised.
The only thing that I would add to that is, from my viewpoint, I believe it's a voter suppression bill on steroids.
I
Uh,
love it. I agree.
you
It's
look at
definitely
all of the categories of people and the numbers of
right.
people that will literally be disenfranchised. And this is not a bill, this is a federal bill.
Hmm.
Now, in America, there is no such thing as a federal election. There are 52 different state elections that
Hmm.
pretty much follow guidance every 4 years from the federal government. So when you look at the number of people around the United States that
Hmm.
will be affected and will be affected immediately, because the way the bill is written is that it goes into effect immediately. It
Hmm.
doesn't give all of the states an opportunity to even prepare
Right.
for what's coming down the state. It
Right.
goes into effect immediately.
Right. And I want us to talk about the ID part of this.
Mhm.
And then I want us to talk about the process. So here's something that some of my conservative allies have said, very sarcastically, I might add, um, that shouldn't we all want fair and free elections, safe elections, and elections, and then why shouldn't we want to show our voter ID? We do. Studies show that almost 90%, close to 90% of Americans actually support voter ID. And guess what? In Arkansas, we have voter ID. I can't go vote without my ID.
Mhm.
I can't vote. We can Nobody in the state of Arkansas can vote without our voter ID. So we already have that law.
Mhm.
And the part that you say on steroids, I totally get it. That totally resonates with me because with this bill, if this passes, not only do you have to have your voter ID, you've got to show up with a birth certificate or a passport. Now,
Yes.
if I go get my birth certificate, the
If
last
you
name,
find your birth certificate,
right,
you
right.
didn't get it.
Number one, you got, and we're gonna talk about the barriers. Let's talk. I
Yes.
want us to talk about because we need people to understand why it's so challenging. Because people say, "Well, you just go get these documents, and you got it." Yeah, but it's not easy to get those documents. But going back to this, if I show up with my birth certificate, my last name is Hill. I was born a Hill. At 22 or 23, I married a Seals. So guess what? It's not going to match up. So now I got to get other documents. And so that's the challenge for women who
Mhm.
have accepted their spouse's last name, it'll be all across the country.
Yeah,
That's a
the,
barrier.
the, the statistic that I came up with was 86.2% of all American women take
Mhm.
on their husband's name,
Right.
and only 9% of American men take on their wife's name.
Oh wow,
And
I didn't realize there were
I
men
didn't
who
either,
take on their wife's name.
but
What
in that
culture is that?
so 86% take on their husband's name, and then there's another like 15 or so percent
Mhm.
that hyphenate their names.
Yeah, yeah. And so what this bill uh and so what this bill will do is it's not just about voter ID. They want us to prove citizenship. We need to talk about that. This is about proving citizenship.
Mhm.
And that just creates a barrier because within the bill, I was reading the actual bill, and it was talking about no, I was reading some commentary, and you got people who with citizenship, with your birth certificate, like of course I was born in Arkansas, but for people who move,
Mhm.
you're talking about trying to go get access to these documents. It just creates it definitely creates a barrier. um and then let's talk about the fact these documents cost.
Mhm.
So for families living paycheck to paycheck, they don't have an extra $100 or 150 or whatever to go get the documents, because you have to pay for government documents. Um a passport, you're looking at about $125, $130, if I'm not mistaken. The prices have probably changed, but
Mhm.
then when you go get a birth certificate, it may be $20 per copy. There, like I said, people living paycheck to paycheck will not be able to have these documents. So my thing is, if the government wants us to have this ID, give us an ID. I mean, not necessarily give it, but make it at no cost. If you really
Yes.
don't want to disenfranchise voters, do that. And then let's talk about the students. I know we got a lot to talk about. We're going to get
Mhm.
to your questions, but
Yeah,
under
but
this bill,
let's even add another layer to the passport thing.
okay, okay,
One layer, and you say we'll talk about barriers later, but I want to add, like, I have a valid passport,
yeah,
and I keep a valid passport because I like to travel. That's a
yeah.
hobby of mine. But the process of getting a passport can take up to anywhere from 3 to 5 months.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And it's
So
backlogged right now.
and it's very
It's
backlogged right now
backlogged.
because of the
Yeah,
shutdown
yeah,
that has happened the last couple of times.
yeah.
So if you want to get if you need to get a passport to vote in November, you have to start now so that you can make sure that you even have it,
Right.
or you have to pay an extra, I think $75 to get it
Oh wow.
expedited.
And I don't think there's any real expediting right now,
No,
because when I
there is
tell you they're backed up, they're backed up. So because I know my son had to renew his passport, and it took him just to renewing is real quick. It's not, but even for the renewal process, it took a minute before his new passport arrived. So there's some extra checks in there that's happening. But let's look at students. Let's look at college students, because in this new bill, if this thing passes, college students can't use their state issued ID. That's a
okay.
barrier. They
Not only,
cannot use
but
their state issued that's issued at the university they attend.
now
That's
let,
a
let me,
travesty.
but now let me tell you this. Uh, and I read that section of the law, and when I
Uh-huh.
read that section of the law, I said that it is written as a catch-all, and
Uh-huh.
so I was watching some commentary where an attorney was talking about it, and they said that uh, if you cannot use, like, if you go to UAPB,
Mm-hmm.
you cannot use a UAPB identification at all. If you're an employee, if you're a student, if
Mm-hmm.
you're associated and you have an ID
Yeah.
from UAPB, so not just students, but also faculty and anybody that works, they
Right.
can't use that ID.
Right, right. Now, my understanding, Kwame, is that we have to, when we go to vote. Okay, well, we hadn't even talked about registering to vote yet. That's
Yeah.
because we got those of us who are registered and going to vote, but then you have that's a whole nother challenge.
But
New people registering to vote.
the law is for both registering to vote and
Right.
actually voting.
I
So
know. That's what I want to talk
yeah.
about. Okay, I tell you what, because I do want to talk about the new
And then
challenge.
re-registering.
Yeah, right, right. They got to register. So but let's go on and talk about because we've talked about the barriers. And so here's a point that I want to make, and we do have a question in the chat. We need to add, I guess, a question or comment. But here's what we need we need to make sure people understand. This bill is not about is not about uh, the integrity of our elections. It's not about that.
Mhm.
It's about purging the rolls, and we need people to understand this. And you should read this. People can read this for yourself. The comment said it's like saying we don't want educated people to vote. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, the student idea. Yeah. Well, let me tell you something.
No
Conservatives
women
don't want
folk.
young people voting.
No young people voting, don't want women folk to vote.
People of
Want
color.
educated people to vote.
Exactly,
Don't want
because
non-white people to vote.
this bill carves out. I mean, this bill is a direct attack. It is a direct attack on people like me, who look like me, who have the same
Well,
gender as me. Um, but
well,
but I was making a point there.
the bill is written to ensure that the people who have the easiest opportunity to vote are white men.
Right, white men, exactly. And I'm a go here.
Wealthy white
If you remember when Erica Kirk was speaking, I don't know where she was. I want to say she was in Arkansas, but anyway, I'm not for sure
men.
where
She's been here in the last couple of months.
yeah, yeah. She and I don't I'm not trying to quote her. I just want to kind of summarize one of the points she was making. And she was, I mean, and she literally said, not like I said, I'm not quoting, but reference protecting white men. I
She
mean,
did.
that was literally part,
Oh,
and y'all can Google that,
and that speech was at the governor's mansion, and
That's
Sarah
right.
Huckabee
She
Sanders
was in
was standing
Arkansas.
right next to her when she said it.
Exactly. She was in Arkansas, and she came for this, they're trying to get this program in high schools and colleges. So she was, yeah, Christian conservative. Yeah, exactly. It's definitely about getting white Christian conservative votes and leaving the rest of us out. Because I want you all to read it. I want you all to Google it. We want people. That's we're having this conversation, and it's so much we're only going to be able to hit on the Lord. It's going to be so much we leave out. But we wanted to start the conversation, create, and we'll probably have to come back and do a part 2 to this, because we're going to realize, we should have talked about this, and this, because there's another whole component about the registration piece that creates liability for people who actually do the registering,
Yeah,
with the
well,
civil lawsuits and all of that.
yeah,
So
well, let's go ahead and put that
let's
out
go
there, 'cause
ahead.
it's
Okay.
highly important. There's two things. One is it creates criminal penalties
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
for our election officials.
Uh-huh.
We have 75 counties and 75 staffs of
Yeah.
election officials. Any election official that may mistakenly register somebody to vote that is
Mm-hmm.
not eligible to vote, they will be criminally liable, and it creates a private right of civil action
Mm-hmm.
against those
Mm-hmm.
people. So, you have Mr. Bloom, who's going around and suing Black women's scholarship funds. That gives him the right to come and just start suing people
Yeah.
left and right if they may have mistakenly registered somebody who's not ineligible to vote, which
Right.
is a very slim chance,
Right.
because if you look at what our Secretary of State, Jasper Cole, said just a year ago in a press conference, he said that Arkansas has the safest voter system, election system in the
Uh-huh.
United States. It was ranked #1
Yep.
by the Heritage Foundation. And when a reporter asked, well, how many non-citizens vote in Arkansas over the last 10 years? and he said there were only a half dozen in the last 10 years that voted,
Mhm.
but none of those half dozen willfully voted when they weren't supposed to. They
Yeah.
all thought that they were allowed to vote. So there
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
no intent
Right.
to
Right.
defraud the voting system.
Right. Right. And that's, and that's what we're seeing across the nation. Uh, people talk about voter fraud and people voting illegally. That's just not the case. There's not any data there to prove, just like in Arkansas,
Mhm.
there's no data anywhere to prove that there's this rampant voter fraud that President Trump keeps talking about. It just doesn't exist. And
Mhm.
what they're doing, you all understand this. They, and when I say they, the Republicans, this is a Trump bill that is, led by the Republicans. Okay. Not all Republicans support it. I understand that. But what they're doing is using policy to disenfranchise voters. So it will be legal. Now, think about this. Uh, the Voting Rights Act of 1965, there were federal protections in that bill. Today, in 2026, I'm not for sure how many of those federal protections have expired. They will not be renewed. So we're losing some of that protection that we've had. Okay. One being safeguarding polling locations. So
Mhm.
now there's this free will that polling locations can be suddenly changed, and there hasn't been proper notification.
Mhm.
Now we just saw this on a big scale. Now it's happening on small scales in communities all across the country, but it happened, and I say it was a big scale in Texas because the media covered it.
Mhm.
The national media covered it. It happens in Pine Bluff. There's no national media there. Uh,
Mhm.
but it happened in Texas with this last Senate race,
Mhm.
that the polling location in one of the heaviest populated African American, I want to say precincts, but voting location, it was changed. And the only remedy, if I remember correctly, was they extended voting by 2 hours.
Mhm.
But think about
You had
this.
to go to court to get that.
Exactly. Okay. Yeah, 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 yeah. So think about this, how disenfranchising that is. You show up to vote, you can't vote, you going home, you know, or you got schedules. People's lives still are happening. They're not going to wait to try to figure this out. People are leaving. They're going to go home. They're going to do whatever. And all those votes are now not going, those people aren't going to be able to vote. So we don't, so my point is, we're losing those federal protections, and I need to study to see which other ones. I know there are numerous federal protections, and what happened, they just expire from the time they were elected. I mean, not elected, they were put into the Voting Rights Act in 1965. Just over a period of time, different ones was renewed, but we are at a point in history where they are not being renewed.
Mhm.
Okay, so that's what I want people to understand. They're not being renewed. Therefore, it's giving more leeway for just craziness, for shenanigans to happen, because we don't have that level of federal protections anymore. So, Kwame, go ahead.
Uh, there's a couple of things because I want to try to throw out as much information as we can so that
Okay.
people can go and look this up. It's the
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Save America Act,
Mm-hmm.
which is already passed the House of
Right.
Representatives, and it is currently sitting in the Senate right now, and they are
Mm-hmm.
on a 2-week vacation. They seem to take
Recess.
a lot of vacations, a lot of
Too
recesses.
many
Which
recesses.
I'm up here like, can I get that
I
plan
know,
working
I
here?
know. And I'm gonna say this as a side note: they should have never went into recess, considering we are in war.
Yeah.
That was absolutely absurd. But anyway, I digress. Go ahead.
So another thing that this this bill would do is it would functionally make online voting, because most states have online voting. It
Hmm.
will make it illegal. It
Hmm.
will functionally make mail-in voting
Hmm.
inaccessible to people, and it would also functionally create a new poll tax.
That's right. That's right. It is a
Uh,
poll. I thank you for bringing that up. This is a poll tax. This is new era poll tax type
yes,
shenanigans. Yes, it
indeed,
is.
indeed, indeed.
Mhm.
And I saw some conversation with commentators. I remember I was watching Fox News because I have to watch to see what they saying,
Watch
so I
all
can
of it.
know what our Republican legislators are going to be saying the next day.
Mhm. Mhm.
But they were talking about somebody asked, well, can't you just use the real ID that you use to go to the airport? No, the real ID by federal law is not a proof of citizenship. And I'm like,
Crazy.
well, why are they giving you all this enhanced stuff to get the real ID?
Mhm.
I have no idea, because that was new to me. It
Yeah.
was new to me that the real ID is not proof of citizenship. The
Yeah.
only proof of citizenship that this bill allows is it allows birth certificates, and they have to be certified birth
Mhm.
certificates,
Mhm.
our original birth certificates, and a passport. Those are what uh, the two of us and most Arkansans would have to get access to.
Right.
The third would be is if you're born outside the United States, it's a certificate of citizenship that the State Department gives you.
Mm.
So those are the three things. Now
Okay.
let's look at passports
Mhm.
uh, to start. Passports right now, the statistics that I saw, and I was just looking for Arkansas since we're kind of Arkansas specific. Right now, the Census Bureau in 2020, they their statistics, their data shows that only 28.2% of all Arkansans even own a passport.
Mhm.
28.2% of all Arkansans own a passport. Now, I had to do further research to find out, okay, how many non-white Arkansans own a passport? So out of that 28.2%, there's 3 million Arkansans
Mhm.
roughly in Arkansas
Right.
due to the census. I know we are undercounted in our
We
community,
are.
so there's probably more than 3 million.
You know we don't trust the government.
Indeed. So let's go with the 3 million. So out of that 3 million, out of 3 million Arkansans, I think that there's 2.4 million that are legally eligible to vote. And
Okay.
out of that 2.4 million that are legally eligible to vote, I think it was roughly about 500,000 have, uh, no, excuse me, it was 700,000, about 700,000 have a passport. And then out of that 700,000 that have passport, less than 40,000 of them are non-white.
Yeah, I believe it. I believe
So
it.
less than
So,
40,000 non-white Arkansans
mhm.
even own a passport.
Right. Yeah. And that's not surprising. That's not surprising. Let's talk about so another component that this administration, and I'm just going to reference it so I don't have to call the president's name. I'm gonna just say this administration. Um,
I like the
so-
word regime, but go ahead.
I don't think we should do that, but we probably have some of our board members watching this. I don't want us to get in trouble.
Mhm.
Although they agree, but anyway, so this administration, and this is something else that's a part of this bill, and it's been part of the conversation, is that the administration wants states to turn over voter data. And I'm just trying to throw out different parts
Yes.
of this so we can talk about as much as we can, just to show you, and we'd love some comments to push back on anything we're saying. We're open to have a dialogue with anybody that wants to have a dialogue. Okay. But this administration is putting pressure on states to turn over voter data. And
Okay.
we know what that voter data is going to be used for. And even during the, what was the guy named, the billionaire that was over Elon Musk, when he was working that,
Doge.
yeah. So there was voter data that was turned over to that department, later found out, or to that agency or whatever, later found out that obviously that data, some of that data had been turned over to non-government. I don't know if it was
No,
contractors.
all of that data was sold.
Yeah. So yeah. And
On
so
the commercial market.
yeah, exactly. And that's abuse.
Yeah.
That is abuse. We can't trust this government. We can't trust this federal administration. They don't need our voter rolls. And if you remember, I just thought about this in Minnesota, during the ICE raids.
Mm-hmm.
Or I remember now, one of the things administration wanted in order for them to get ICE out was turn over the voter rolls.
Yes,
And
and
the
I
governor
can speak to that.
refused, right?
Yeah, yeah, I can speak to that.
Okay,
That is
please do.
100% correct. So there was an executive order that was issued in January, and that executive order uh, required uh, the Department of Justice, and the Department of State, and what I forgot what Department of Homeland Security. So
Yeah,
the Department
right.
of Justice, the Department of State, and the Department of Homeland Security to work together to
Mhm.
create a master national voter list. All right. And
Mhm.
so, as a result of this executive order, what the DOJ did is the DOJ sent a letter to all of the U.S. Secretaries of States requesting that they send their redacted voter files, which includes all information. See, like if I send a Freedom of Information Act to get the Arkansas voter file, it's only going to give me limited information. But
Mhm.
the unredacted file that they have, it has social security numbers on there. It has telephone numbers and a whole bunch of other stuff that is not publicly available to regular people.
Mhm.
But the each Secretary of State got this letter requesting that information be sent to the Department of Homeland Security. Now, when they all got it, I think it was 27 states
Mhm.
filed lawsuits against the government, or asking for injunctions against the federal government asking for that information. All 27 states won, including Minnesota.
Mhm. Mhm.
So the Trump administration was using Minnesota's refusal and judicial injunction to try to say, "Hey, if you give us the voter file, we'll stop abusing your citizens with ICE and what is it, border control."
Border control. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what that was about. Now, there were 9 states that complied willingly.
Mhm.
9 states just turned over all that information.
Uh-huh.
Guess who the first state was? Arkansas.
Arkansas. Yeah.
Arkansas immediately released all of that information. So the Department of Homeland Security already has Arkansas's unredacted files.
Mm.
So every single Arkansan who has ever registered to vote the Department of Homeland Security has all of our information. And what they want to do is they want to create this big database that they can use for whatever purposes that they're not telling us about. But if you go read Project 2025,
Yep.
you can figure it out on exactly what the purposes of
Keep it
that.
right here. This is my copy right here. Yep.
So with that executive order, this new law, the Save America Act, puts that executive order into federal law.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it will actually require all of the states to
To
go
do it.
ahead and turn those voter files.
What you think they're doing with our information, Kwame?
Oh my gosh! Have you ever read, what is it? The Big Brother book, 1984.
Uh-huh. No,
Yeah.
I've not read that.
George Orwell, 1984.
Oh, okay.
That I read that in high school, and that'll kind of tell you.
I'll have to put that one on my
Yeah,
list.
yeah. 1984 and Project 2025 is
Yeah, I
what
got Project
we need to be
2025
reading right now.
Yeah, I'm constantly on that thing. Just yeah, it's but anyway, so I hope this is helping you all to kind of understand where we are. And none of this is hard to believe. We just want people to know this is what's happening. And here's the thing, you all. So much is happening in this administration. We as a people, I believe, are just becoming numb to some of the shenanigans. I really, really believe we're just becoming numb to some of this craziness. But this is one issue. This is a bill that we should not be numb to. And as a matter of fact, I don't know how long ago it was, but the administration, he said this was passing this bill was a priority for him. Now it did, as Kwame already said, it passed the House. It's in the Senate. Hopefully it was dead on arrival. As far as I know, it's not on the agenda to debate. But I don't know if we've seen they're on recess. They're in recess.
Well,
but
like you said, there is a congressman out there that has been on the lecture circuit talking about this bill and going to all of the talk shows and everything. And I had an opportunity to hear him discuss it on a radio talk show when I was driving from Forest City this morning. And that's Congressman Al Green.
Al Green, yeah.
And Congressman Al Green, when he was asked, he said, "What is the likelihood of this passing?" He said, "It is very likely." And that's when he said, "What we need to start doing right now," he said, "we need to fight like hell to try our best to prevent it. But at the same time, we need to be taking up measures, just in case measures."
Right.
And during that interview, he said, we all need to be dusting off our history books and learning about who Septima A. Clark is and her citizenship schools. And Septima A. Clark, she worked with SCLC back in the 60s and 70s. And what she did in Mississippi, Alabama, and other states is she said, okay, if you guys are going to have all this voter suppression, like poll tax and having people count jelly beans in a jar and all that, what we're going to do is we're going to teach people how to take these tests and how to pay and they were collecting money to pay the poll tax and teaching people how to read jelly beans.
They sure did.
And Congressman Al Green said, everybody today, they need to go get them a passport. He said, we just need to go ahead and do it, because he said that there is a 100% chance that this will pass the Senate when they get back in session.
But they don't. Well, and we know it's likely. We know it's likely, but before they left, they did not have the votes, and I'm sure that's why. I'm sure that's why they didn't vote on it. But I will say there are Republican legislators who are fearful, or I probably should say concerned, about the implementation, because this puts such a burden on states.
Yes. Yes.
Y'all, the burden is unreal for states, and states are not prepared to implement it. And the administration wants this to go into effect immediately,
Yes.
because what they're trying to do, listen to me,
Say it.
they're trying to influence the outcome of the midterm elections
This November.
this November, November the 3rd, because Trump know he hadn't done, how do I say it nicely? Half of what he
The
promised
likelihood of there being a victory for one party
over
is
the other party. Exactly. Exactly. I mean, gas prices are up. We're in a war. Groceries up. People are struggling to make ends meet. And he hadn't made America great again, like he claims to. And understandably, his base is not. He's got a number. I don't know the amount, but there's a number of people in his base that just aren't happy. He's neutralized some of them. I'm sure they hadn't gone to the other side, but he's definitely, just with his actions, have neutralized a lot
Yeah.
of those people. So,
And I'm glad you brought up the statement, "Make America Great Again," because there is actually a bill that has not really been widely discussed that is in waiting just in case this particular bill does not pass. And the
yeah.
title of that bill is "Make Elections Great Again." The Make Elections Great Again Act. And it has pretty much the same exact wording as the Save America Act. And I forgot the congressman who introduced it,
Mhm.
like in February, but his sole goal in introducing it is just in case the Save America Act does not pass, then
Mhm.
they're going to rush that one through.
Yeah. Wow. So hopefully everybody understands the content of what we've tried to share, uh, and to understand that this is a solution looking for a problem. It's a solution looking for a problem. It's clearly voter suppression, will disenfranchise millions of voters,
Mhm.
creates all kind of barriers, obstacles, and these are all groups that aren't Trump friendly,
Mhm.
are not as voter friendly towards his administration. You all, in simple terms, they are trying to take us back to the '60s. That's the bottom line. And
I
I
was just
and
waiting
here's the
before
thing.
that.
Yeah, yeah, or exactly, exactly. But I like to say the '60s because people can relate. There are
Yeah.
people, because when I look at my family, I'm only the second generation that
Mhm.
has been able to vote in free and fair elections without uh, you know, poll tax and intimidation and all of that. The second generation. My mom was the first generation. My mom and my dad were the first generation.
Mm.
I am the second generation in my family. And
Mm.
you probably are too, Kwame. You and I are the same age. But when you think about it, um, when you think about it, it's like, wow, really? We are not
Wow.
that
I mean,
far.
you just saying that just
Think
blew my
about it.
mind. Like,
Think about it. You and I are the same age. Our parents are probably about the same
yes.
age. And like I said, my mother and father were both the first generation to be able to like literally go vote without poll tax and all of that.
And women, they just got their official right to vote
Mhm.
even later than that.
Later than that, exactly.
I think in the 70s or something.
Yeah, it was. I don't know. Right, exactly, exactly. So, because actually, black men could vote before white women.
Yep. And
Yeah.
then white women could vote before black women.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. So it's interesting. Do we have any comments or questions in the chat? I haven't seen anything else. Uh Heather's behind the
I think
scenes.
people are running out of their house screaming right now.
Well, we want people to be knowledgeable. We want to talk about this. We want to, we've got to talk about it because this is where we are. This is where we are. Yep, yep. She said a friend has his dad's poll tax receipt in his wallet, and I
Yeah.
wished I had my grandfather's, but I don't. I don't.
Yes.
Um,
I have two friends that have their parents or grandparents' poll tax receipt
uh-huh.
that
Yeah.
they one is framed on the wall in his living room. So I
Yeah.
know
Yeah.
exactly, it's not, we're not that far removed.
We are not.
And
We are not.
here's the thing that everybody has to understand is that voting is you choosing who you want to make determinations about your rights and
Mhm,
responsibilities
mhm.
and resource allocation
Right.
for your for yourself, for your family, for your
Mhm.
neighborhood, and for your community. And if you're not stepping up to the plate to elect, and when you elect someone, you're hiring them. That's
Mhm.
just like if you went to go work at McDonald's, you're going to sit down for an interview. And based on that interview and based on some other things, will determine whether or not you get hired. And we
Right.
have to do the same thing for these candidates in office is we
Mhm.
need to register to vote and we need to sit them down, literally and figuratively,
Right.
to put them in a job interview and see if
Mhm.
they deserve
Our
to
vote.
represent us.
That's right.
And
And that's what this administration is afraid of because
yeah,
he know good and well. He knows good and well. He feels it. He feels it coming. So they're gonna try to take care of that. So we need to. So now I hear what you said that Congressman Al Green said. Now I'm a really I've got to. We need to think about that. So basically, what he's saying is just be prepared. Now you're gonna have some people.
no, he's saying fight
I'm just
against it,
yeah
but
okay
at
yeah
the same time,
be prepared
be
exactly
prepared
yeah
just in case it does go to
exactly. And we're gonna have to adapt that because we're gonna fight. We're gonna fight like hell. There is no doubt about it.
yes.
But part of the fight is educating people who are
Voter education. That's what this
voter
is.
education. There are people who are literally just zoned out. And I mean,
Well,
we're in war. We're
well,
literally in a war.
here's the thing is that uh the most prolific uh uh division of the electorate right now is the non-voter. The
Yeah,
people that are sitting on the couch.
yeah.
They're the ones that are controlling everything right now. And
Mhm.
a non-vote is a vote. It's
Yeah,
just a vote against your best interests.
right, right.
So we have to educate people like this bill is totally against everyone's best interests.
It is. It is absolutely. So let me ask. So I want to ask a question, but we don't have a lot of time to talk about it because I
Okay.
want to end with some action items.
Action
Okay.
steps.
So let me ask this, and I'm just gonna ask it. So do you think, or what are your thoughts about if if our people in our community realize what this administration is trying to do through this policy, is that enough to motivate us to register and vote like hell because they're trying to take our right away? And when I say take our right away, access, trying to make it difficult. So y'all know what I mean when I say take our right away. They're trying to make it difficult and create all these barriers. It's voter suppression, is what it is. Do you think that's enough to motivate us to get our butts up and go register and go vote? Think about it.
Do you
This
want me
could be.
to answer that on here or when we get out?
I know. You know what? That's why I said I'm gonna go ahead and just ask it because I have so many thoughts on that. Some thoughts we can't share in this setting, but
Mhm.
just
That's a very valid question that needs to
yeah,
be
it's
asked
loaded.
and it needs to be discussed. And
Yeah.
we should be having town hall meetings in all 75 counties discussing that. It's like, do we really want to give away our rights, our resources, and our responsibilities to people who do not even believe that we're human?
Right. Exactly. Exactly. Because whew, that goes into another whole topic that we definitely can't talk about. But there are segments of the population who still look as um, us as property. There are those who still look at us as property.
Hmm.
And we, the people, we all know when the Constitution was written, we were not part of we, the people. But in the words of Barbara Jordan, through the process of interpretation and amendment, we became part of we, the people. But
Hmm.
we were, I think, what, 3/5 of a
Yeah.
3/5 of a.
I've,
So we
I've
don't want to
heard,
go there, but
no, well, I've heard it said that that America did not really become America until the passage of the 14th Amendment.
uh-huh.
Uh, I think it probably is later than that.
Yeah, 14,
With
yeah,
the Voting Rights Act and
yeah,
everything, I think that's
yeah,
more
no,
current.
no,
But
yeah,
yeah, and it's vitally important that we get off the couch and get off the bench and get
all right.
into the game, because if you do not do politics, politics will still do you.
Yes, it will. It's gonna hurt.
It's gonna
So
hurt.
let's end. This has been a good conversation. Let's end like this. We only have a few minutes. So let's start getting prepared. So people, one of the things people definitely need to do is to check your status. Know your voter status. And we've been preaching this for a while. You can go to
Voter View, AR.
voter view, voter view, and if you can Google uh voter view arc. It's through the Secretary of State's website,
Mhm.
voter view, and maybe later we can go back and pin this so people can have it.
And you can
But
check your status. You can check every member of your family's status.
everybody,
You can check your
everybody,
neighbor's status. All you need is a
yeah,
first and last name
right, and
and birth
and
date.
date of birth. And here's the thing: make sure your addresses are updated. I'm gonna tell you, we did this at my church where I go to church, and within just a couple of Sundays, we updated like 13 people's just the address because people will move and what have you. Y'all, all that stuff needs to line up. Your
Well,
address, it needs
yeah,
to
it's
all.
on the screen. It's on the screen.
Okay,
So
there it is. Thank you, Heather. It's
uh,
on the screen.
I'm glad that you mentioned that. Is we need to get these faith leaders
Yes.
to speak to their congregations
Yeah.
so that we can get this done.
Yeah.
And that's where we're going to have our biggest success, is getting faith leaders to
Faith
start
leaders and our
doing what you did at church.
right, exactly. So we just need pastors to let people in their congregation. This should be talked about.
Yep.
We should be having these conversations on Sunday morning. Like that's where people are gathering and also in our civic and social organizations,
Yep.
our civil rights organizations. We need to be talking about this new Save America Act bill. And I'm gonna give you uh oh, I don't see it. I got the bill here. It's HR, but it's not filled in.
Yeah.
I don't have.
If you just Google Save America Act, it will come up.
Yeah,
It will literally come up and it will give
yeah,
you the information.
yeah. And this will, according to the actual bill here, the subtitle. Let me read. Well, I don't know if it's subtitle, but the first sentence. I'm gonna read the first sentence. We got 1 minute. It says to amend the National Voter Registration Act of 1993 to require proof of United States citizenship and to register an individual to vote in elections for federal office and other purposes. Yeah. So
Yeah,
that,
and why that's important is because Congress only has the authority to make rules on elections where the president is running, or
uh-huh.
someone is running for the Senate or the House of Representatives.
Right, right.
And give you an example is the state of Arizona has what's called a bifurcated system where they, whenever somebody is running in federal office, they follow one set of rules, and whenever somebody is running for state or local office, they follow a different set of rules. So
Oh
that's
wow.
that's what they're talking about. Is as I stated at the beginning, is there is no such thing as a federal election. There are
Right.
52 different state elections,
Uh-huh.
and they have federal candidates.
Candidates on the ballot, right? So voterview.org, it's in the chat. I mean, it's posted. So you all check that up. Make sure you are good. Um, get your birth certificates and passports if you can. That those who can, y'all just get ready. But also, and I know people say it doesn't matter, but y'all can contact your congressmen and senators. You can
Yeah,
do that. They literally need to hear from us. They
exactly.
need to hear
There needs
from
to be a
us.
record.
There needs to be a record. They need to know, man, 100,000 people in my district called me about this bill. They
They're
need to hear
hiding right
from
now.
us.
While
And
they're too weak, they're hiding.
exactly. And even though people say, oh, they'll support it, it doesn't matter. They need to hear from us. Our voice, that's our advocacy.
Mhm.
We need to go on record of fighting against this bad bill. It's a voter suppression bill,
And there's an app called the Five Calls app that you can get, and it helps you with that. And it's
I
free,
hadn't heard of that, but let's talk
totally free.
about that.
The Five Calls app.
5 calls,
Yeah.
but we
Yeah.
got 6 congressional. But anyway, let's talk about it.
Mhm.
So you all do those things, and that's the action item. And share this if you can share it. I don't know how this works, or encourage people to watch the replay of this, just so we can start having the conversations. Just so
Mhm.
we can start having the conversations. And Kwame and I are going to be part of probably going out talking about this to groups and organizations. When we can. So let's just work it out. And virtual works great. We don't have to come in person. We can do virtual conversations with your civic group or whatever. And we're 2.5, almost 3 minutes over. So any closing comments?
Contact your congressman, like you
Yeah.
said, and find your birth certificate. I have no idea where mine is. Let me tell you something. I only need my birth certificate when I apply for a new job. So every 5 to 10 years, I have to go get a new one because I can
Yeah.
never find
I'm probably
it.
gonna get mine. I have one, but I probably need to get all these documents together as well.
Mhm.
Thank you all so much for joining us on today. We hope this has been enlightening and informative. Excuse me, for you. We've enjoyed presenting this information and having this conversation and dialogue. Until next time, you all peace.